Hello, I'm J.V. Miller with ProfessionalGambler.com in Las Vegas. In 1997, we published an article on our website titled Debunking the Kelly Criterion, and firestorms erupted. Our family got death threats, we were barred from some sports books, a group of bookmakers got together and created an entire webpage called Debunking the Debunking of the Kelly Criterion. An entire webpage devoted to just discrediting us. It's still online, as a matter of fact. Why would sports books care about the money management systems of bettors? There's only one answer to that. It must matter to them. It must make a difference to their bottom line. But how? I'll come back to that. The Kelly Criterion is a progressive money management formula premised on the concept of risking more when you're winning and less when you're losing. It's advertised to be a system to optimize your bet size and proposes to be able to give you an advantage over the bookmaker simply by changing the size of your bets along the way. It sounds reasonable, but in the real world it doesn't work. The Kelly Criterion is based partially on math and partially on human input. It's only as good as the data used to compute it. It requires that the human guess how good the odds are that she will win the next bet. It's the human input part that's the weak link. For the Kelly Criterion to work, at least occasionally you must have a very high degree of confidence that the next bet or two or three are winners. The problem is in sports betting, we never have that high degree of confidence that we're going to win the next two or three or four bets because there are too many variables that can affect the result of a game. A bad bounce, a bad play call by the coach, a bad call by the official, bad weather, injuries, you name it. The best we can do is hope for a 55% winning expectation long term. Look, when the break even is 52.4% and the best winning percentage against the spread is 55%, it's silly to think that one selection is worth 2 or 3 or 4 times more than another. The only way to have a high enough degree of confidence in winning against sports betting would require fixing the game or cheating in some way. It is possible to have a high enough degree of confidence in winning in other forms of gambling. It's entirely plausible, for instance, that the Kelly Criterion may work in a game like blackjack because occasionally you do have a very high degree of confidence that you're going to win the next hand if you're a proficient card counter. If you know the cards that the dealer has left remaining in the deck, it's a wonderful position to be in, then you have a very high degree of knowing for sure whether you're going to win or lose the next hand. In sports betting, you don't ever have that degree of confidence. So in sports betting, you just can't use bet size as a pry bar to break line in the law of numbers. There is no way to size your bets strategically in sports betting to give you an edge. That's a myth. That's a fallacy. And it's a scheme. Those who do it are suckers. About that human input, all because someone categorizes a selection as a 5-star bet versus a 1-star bet, it doesn't mean that their winning expectation is any greater. Remember, there are just as many people on the other side of that selection claiming the same thing. So here in the real world, you never know if you're in a winning streak or a losing streak. If you've won 20 games in a row, even your last game, does it mean you're in a winning streak? No, it means you were in a winning streak. Anything can happen now. Unless you're cheating or you're Dionne Warwick from Psychic Friends Network, there's no way to know. What Kelly bettors don't realize is that if they went back and tallied their winning percentage of just their high probability wins or their high probability win selections, it wouldn't be any better than their other selections. The other difference they'll see is that their bankroll will be way down compared to had they just flat bet. Why would their bankroll be down? Because jiggling the size of your bets lowers the profit margin and it raises the break even. That's a fact in the math. You make less every time you change the size of your bet. You can look at our year so far. It's been a good year at ProfessionalGambler.com. From January 1 of this year to the 1st of October 2018, we doubled our bankroll. Well, those following our flat betting advice doubled their bankroll. If you had been Kelly betting, you didn't. You'd be up, but not nearly as much as the flat bettors. Same picks, lower bankroll. That's the real world for you. Now, we weren't born knowing how to do this. In fact, the brilliant men who are the architects of our system tried the Kelly Criterion and other systems along the way. They didn't know flat betting or fixed wagering is the only kind of money management system that works in sports betting. They had to learn the hard way. I heard their stories about how much money they lost and how frustrating it was, and how difficult to recognize that the reason success always eluded them was their money management. And who would have thought, because it does work out on paper. The Kelly Criterion always wins more than flat betting on paper, but not in the real world. As soon as these men embarked on a flat betting or fixed wagering system, the one we use today, things turned around for them almost instantly. So why do people use the Kelly Criterion? Initially, they probably fell for a sales pitch they heard from a fake sports handicapper who was really working for the sports books, and that's what those touts do. They give out losing picks and try to convince us to use harmful money management systems. Because the more we lose, the more they win, right? It's like poisoning the well. Also, people choose systems like the Kelly Criterion because they feel more in control. It feels like they're winning. It's more fun and exciting to change your bet every day. That's why people use the Kelly Criterion initially. But what about the people who continue to use it and defend it and argue until they're blue in the face that it works? Smart people. It's a real defect in reasoning, something called sunk cost fallacy. When something you've invested a lot of time and money into is not working out, but you continue to do it, the farther down the wrong road you drive, the more difficult it gets to turn back. It's hard to beat the regret of knowing that you made a wrong choice, a costly one. And so sometimes people just twist their view of what's profitable around to match their distorted view of what it is. The sunk cost fallacy is all around us. Say a sports team signs a star athlete for $1 gazillion, and he turns out to be not so great. In fact, there are better players on the bench, but you play the guy who you paid $1 gazillion to because you want to get your money's worth. But that's impossible. You cannot accept the fact that he's just not that great, yet you still play him, even when you'd be better off letting one of the bench players play. Or maybe you invest in a stock that loses all its value, goes to zero. But when you buy more stock, you buy more of that stock because you feel like you haven't gotten your money out of it yet and it owes you. It's really irrational. You must accept the fact, if you're a Kelly bettor, that the money's gone for good. The value you thought you'd see cannot be recovered, and now you have to make smart decisions for the future. It's not called the kamikaze criterion for nothing. Betting more when you're winning and less when you're losing sounds smart, but it's one of the oldest tricks in the book for casinos, which we know the casino industry runs the sportsbook industry. Getting you to bet in higher increments. It's what they call coloring you up or chipping you up. It's what they do at the craps table, right? Or the blackjack table. When you're winning, the dealers just take your chips and change them out. You don't even have to ask them. They just do it. They're trained to automatically do it because they know that coloring you up will result in you losing more and faster. Well, they have found a way to get sports bettors to color up. They can chip us up. And they do it through money management systems like the Kelly Criterion. It is believed by many, and the history of Las Vegas documents this in my opinion, and I know for sure it's true, that the sports books in the 80s and 90s were responsible for promoting and inserting these money management systems into the sports betting community and into our psyche. When you bet flat, you win more or lose less, depending on how you want to look at it. When you use these trick money management systems, you lose more and you win less. So follow the money. When sports bettors wind up losing, who ends up winning? The sports books. Now you understand why the sports books promote these betting systems? The more diminished your bankroll, the more enhanced theirs. The proof is in the pudding. There are no successful Kelly Criterion bettors running around. I don't know of any. Meanwhile, there's a growing population of grinder-style bettors who use a fixed betting system or flat betting system. I get more letters from people who say they refused to accept for a long time the facts about money management. And for years, they lost. And they finally, out of desperation, one day just gave the flat betting a shot. And things turned around for them instantly. I hear those stories all the time. When you bet the Kelly Criterion, at the end of the day, what happens is you end up losing your biggest bets. Plain and simple. Think about it. And that's the real world for you, the one we live in. I'm in the trenches every day, running the oldest online sports handicapping service in the world. So I know what's happening, not just with my own bets, but with a lot of people's. The sharpest bettors in the world subscribe to my service. I live it every day. I hope this was helpful. Our website is professionalgambler.com. That's also the name of our YouTube channel. I hope you'll follow me on Twitter at JV Miller Sports. I handicap pro and college sports year-round. I doubled our subscribers' bankrolls this year in 10 months. You can hear from me every day. Go to professionalgambler.com and get 6 months of my plays for $899. Thank you and good luck.